Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How is everyone doing? This is episode 186, and I'm calling this bad boy Humble Pie, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 186 is called Humble Pie because one of the fighters in the main event in this past weekend's UFC card, whatever. One of the fighters promised to serve his opponent some humble pie. And we are going to talk about that, ladies and gentlemen, on this episode. 186, we're going to talk about Petr versus Merab Dvalishvili. As you guys may remember, who I picked to be champion at the end of this year. At the end of 2022, I picked Merab to be champion at the end of 2023. Just like I named Alexa Grasso my 2022 Fighter of the Year right before she wins the belt, I picked Merab to be the champion at the end of the year. I remember Geisha was like, that's a bold prediction. I don't know if it's a bold prediction after this fight, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment here, but we're also going to talk about UFC 286 is next week. We get 2 fucking pay-per-views basically back to back. Like, I was thinking, because sometimes, you know how just as MMA fans, we like to, or at least UFC fans, we're like, they're charging too much for these pay-per-views. Nigga, you just flew to Vegas to watch fights live. I think you can afford a pay-per-view. That's where I'm at with it. If you've ever been to a live event, I mean, I guess you're paying for that experience. Like, I wanted to be there with John Jones. I wanted that energy. I wanted the energy of being there with Conor. And Conor showing up at UFC 285 kind of like locked that up for me. I didn't need any more energy from Conor. Which means, like, if this nigga do fight at some point this year, I don't necessarily have a need to be there. I'm feeling those vibes. They didn't announce, like, yo, Conor's here. It was just all of a sudden there was a commotion over there. Cameras were out. I couldn't see him, but I'm like, Conor's here. I could feel it, my nigga. Conor's here. And sure enough, Conor was there. Like, I could just tell by how everybody was going crazy. But we do have, as I was saying, next week, UFC 286 live from London, as Leon Edwards is set to defend his belt against Kamaru Usman in the trilogy fights. Alright? And I will tell you who I'm rolling with in this one. Shout out to Lyft driver LaRon out in Vegas. Homeboy, me and him were talking about fights. He was pretty into the fights. I was thinking back on that conversation a lot, actually. I was like, fuck, I should have, like, got dude on Instagram or some shit. That was a cool ass dude. I usually don't have good MMA conversations with people. Usually I have to explain things to them. But he knew it all. He watches The Weasel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was right. That was one of the... Shout out to LeBron. If you niggas is in Vegas, you need a lift. Get at your boy LeBron. I don't know how that works. I think he gave me the option to, like, refer a nigga to somebody. Like, I think I could refer him to people if y'all are in Vegas, I will refer y'all to that homeboy LeBron, because he's up on the MMA knowledge. So shout out to LeBron. But we were talking about Leon. We were talking about, he's the one that told me that the Merab fight was going to be at the theater at the Virgin Hotels. I was like, damn, I didn't even know. I thought it was going to be in the Apex, but they were doing apparently Power Slap League at the Apex. And I really like the theater at the Virgin Hotel. Apparently that's like where they used to do UFC events back in the day, in that small arena, man. It was like all the seats, like there were some like floor seats, which I would have definitely not wanted, or maybe it was pretty small in there. But the other seats were like perfect cage level to the octagon. I was like, dude, I really like this venue. I wish I was there this week instead of fucking. It probably would have been a third of the cost, a fourth of the cost if I went to see Merab versus Jan instead of fucking John Jones versus Cyril Gane and Valentina Shevchenko, nigga. And originally, as I posted on here, you guys saw Amanda Nunes was supposed to fucking fight on that card as well, but it just never worked out. So yeah, it would have been a lot less expensive to have gone to see Merab versus Jan. But anywho, we're gonna talk about, as I said, I shouted out LeBron because he asked me who I wanted in this fight between Leon and Kamaru, like, and I'm like, dude, I like them both. And he's like, I know, bro, like, after everything that happened, like, and I'm like, dude, I'll go back and watch that video with Leon and his coach and then the knockout. I go back and watch that all the time. It's just so inspiring, dude. I feel so much better just watching that video. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't know, man. It's torn, but I will tell you guys in a little bit here who I'm rolling with at UFC 286. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5Podcast, Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast, I would surely appreciate it. If you guys would like to follow your boy on Twitch, head over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys would like to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my Niji, be my patrons. Oh man, I just remembered I forgot to put I was gonna say, like, cause I was about to spell out Babylon 5 just in case niggas didn't know, and then I was like, wait, where's my logo? I'm like, if you're here, I don't need to spell it out because everything here says it. But I was like, fuck, I took the logo down for a second ago and forgot to put it up. But anywho, there's the logo. You guys should watch it. Go on YouTube if you ain't. I mean, I get more listens off the Podbean. Like, I get more people that listen than just the audio than watch the YouTube video. But y'all niggas should migrate on over to that YouTube if you haven't already. And if you guys would like to not just be my Niji, be my patrons, head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, and you guys can be my patrons today. As I said, one fighter between Petr and Merab Dvalishvili had said they were going to serve the other humble pie. You see, there's always been bad blood between Petr and Jermaine Sterling and his team. Merab, being Jermaine's best friend and main training partner, when Petr previously said he's gonna go to war with these people the second he sees anybody from his team, anybody from Aljo's team, he's just gonna attack them. People like Merab takes this personally. Merab also said real randomly. I thought it was pretty random that Merab knows Jan's best friend. Alright? And they made a bet for the second Petr Yan Aljo fight. $50,000. Obviously, Merab bet $50,000 on Aljo. And Jan's best friend bet $50,000 on Jan. As we all know, Aljo won the fight. And Merab is saying he never got paid from Jan's friend. And after all this, like, looking into it, he found out that the reason the guy didn't pay him is because Petr Yan directly told him not to pay Merab if he were to win that bet, if Jan were to lose. So it was directly because of that is why Merab is saying he didn't get paid from his friend. And he was also just saying all kinds of things like when Jan was the champion, he never like did anything with the platform. He didn't like do any charities. He didn't give back to the community in any way. He's just saying Jan is just so arrogant. So he wanted to serve Petr Yan some humble pie, and he served Petr Yan the best slice of humble pie, I would say. Man, Petr Yan, who a lot of you people feel like they talk about him like he's this Terminator, and I would say for the most part he's looked like that against people like Uriah Faber and even to some extent Corey Sandhagen. Like in the later parts of that fight, later rounds, he looked like a Terminator, but not right there with my boy Aljo on his back. I had to throw that picture in there of Aljo on Jan's back. I just had to. Okay? Sarah Longo owns Petr Yan at this point. Okay? Had to throw Aljo on Jan's back, but so I would say the way Aljo beat Jan the second time wasn't as definitive as it was here with Merab. Merab was all over Jan. Jan looked worried, like he was under attack. His fucking right eye was swollen, damn near shut. He was getting his ass beaten there, alright? Merab beat this nigga ass, okay? I said Merab would be champion at the end of the year, and motherfucker said it was a bold prediction. No, they're not saying that after this fight. Right now, they're like, dude, he should be challenging Aljo. Why wouldn't he fight Aljo? Because they're best friends. They're brothers. They're never going to fight each other. Alright? And I said, that's what I said in my prediction that Merab would be champion. Was that the only way he wouldn't be champion is if Aljo doesn't in fact move up to 145 pounds. If he stays at 135 throughout the year, then that's the only way I don't see Merab as the champion. I thought like just with his grappling alone, he was just gonna run through the division, but he beat Jan's ass, okay? I don't think Jan has ever... Dude, he was under attack. He was confused. He never got his ass beat like that. Merab beat this nigga ass. And it was like, he shot... What was this nigga shot like 48 takedowns? It was 48 takedown attempts, I believe. And... yeah. He kept the pressure on Jan for all 5 rounds. He's lighting this boy up with the punches because he's so worried about the takedown. 48 takedown. He shot on this nigga 48 times. That boy was under attack. He had no idea what was coming at him. Merab kicked this nigga's leg, fucked up his lead leg. He no longer could stand orthodox and had to fight out of his southpaw stance. From then on, Merab beat Petr Yan's ass, and I couldn't have been happier about it. Yeah, Merab, I couldn't have been happier about it. So happy for my boy Merab. It's almost like, you know, I'm proud for Merab as if I'm not Jermaine. I'm Al Jermaine, nigga. That's how I feel right now for my boy Merab. So I was thinking about it after the fight, well, even in the middle of the fight, because he was beating that nigga ass, and it was like, yeah, this is a foregone conclusion that Merab's gonna win this fight 50-45. 50-45 in this nigga. It's pretty obvious. But I was like, damn, the only person that's right now today available is Sean O'Malley, right? That's the only available next fight for Merab. I saw Henry Cejudo saying he's asking Dana White to make Merab the backup fighter for Aljo, because with the recent injury that Aljo was dealing with, he feels like there's a good chance that Aljo pulls out of the fight. So he's like, go ahead and just put Merab as the backup fighter, because he's saying that their game plans are exactly the same. So like, it's the same game plan for him to fight either guy, which I think the fucking volume that you're gonna get out of Merab is not the same from Aljo. I think Aljo has better technique with his grappling. Alright, I think he has better technique, but Merab is just coming at you non-stop. That's what I said last week. Relentless takedown attempts. 48 takedown attempps. Okay, relentless. Jan was under attack, getting his fucking ass beat. He's never looked like that. He never looked so discouraged. After his last fight, he was like, I don't think I want to fight for the UFC anymore. What's he gonna say now? Okay, what is Jan gonna say now? Because he legit got his ass beat in there. What is he gonna say now? Can't wait for the excuses. There can't be, because he just got his fucking ass beat in there. Merab did his thing. And I was saying, like, just to backtrack here, went all over the place, but the only available fight for Merab currently, today, is Sean O'Malley. If not, Umar Nurmagomedov. I've seen some people throw out Umar's name, but I would see no reason for Merab to fight that far back. Like, if anything, he's going to be the number one contender after that fight. Because Sean O'Malley became the number one contender after he beat Jan by, I think, split decision. And a lot of people felt like Jan won that fight. Merab went in there and fucking dominated Merab. I feel like that should put him to the number one contender spot. Yeah, I see no reason for him to fight back to Umar Nurmagomedov just because his last name is Nurmagomedov. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to go back just because of that. And I like, the obvious fight right now is Sean O'Malley Merab, but I don't believe they would do that to O'Malley. All right, all these marketing dollars into Sean O'Malley, they're not gonna feed him to Merab. Not at this point. I feel like the only way they feed him to Merab is if they do make Merab the backup fighter for Aljo. Aljo pulls out, and then Merab comes in and wins like interim gold. And then Aljo's just like, fuck it, I'm moving up. And then they elevate that belt to undisputed status. Then at that point, you can have Merab versus O'Malley, because Merab would be the champion. But they're not gonna throw O'Malley to this fucking monster in Merab. But at that point, I don't know who else Merab fights other than O'Malley. Like, does he fight the winner of Chito Vera, Corey Sandhagen? Because I feel like whoever wins that fight wants a title shot. you got 4 and 5 fighting each other. Whoever wins that fight is certainly in line for a title shot. So I'm not sure where Merab goes here. They once again shut down the idea of him fighting Jermaine Sterling. Dana White was like, oh, that's going to be a sad story if he doesn't want to fight his teammate. Nigga, it's a sad story if you're trying to get him to fight his best friend. Alright? It's a sad story that you're trying to get this nigga to fight his best friend. Nigga, why don't you worry about not slapping your wife? Alright? Why don't you worry about not fucking trying to force the power slap league on niggas after you slapped your wife? How about you worry about that shit, Dana? Get off my nigga Merab. As I told you niggas right here on the Babylon 5 podcast, would be champion at the end of 2023, and he looks like nobody would stop him. No one would stop him. Next week, we have UFC 286. Edwards Usman 3 for the welterweight championship. Alright. If you guys are listening to this podcast at this point and you don't watch MMA, I'm sorry. Because that's what niggas talk about. Could talk about Last of Us. Just started watching that shit. We're on like episode 8, I believe. And the finale is on in probably like a minute or so. I don't know. It's like almost 7 o'clock here. Daylight savings time. It's almost 7 o'clock here. Maybe shit don't come on until like later. I'm old. I'm from the 80s, kinda. I was right there. When I was young, I liked to say that I was from the 80s. Niggas would be like, you ain't from the 80s, bro. Stop saying that shit. And now that I'm older, I really don't like to say that I'm from the 80s. I'm a fucking 90s kid. You know what I'm saying? I was only in that bitch for like 31 days. In that bitch for 31 days, my nigga. It ain't that serious. I'm a 90s baby. I don't know how I got on that little rant there. Yeah, we're talking about UFC. As I was saying, I was talking to LeBron. Shout out to LeBron, Lyft driver LeBron. And he was asking, who do I have in this fight? Leon Rocky Edwards versus Kamaru. That's why it was called that. Okay. I changed the name of this episode to Humble Pie, but I had it as Only One, and I was like, is this a Kanye reference? I like forgot why I named the episode Only One, and I was like, Humble Pie would make more sense, but I named it Only One because I love both of these gentlemen, alright? Love both of these gentlemen, but there is only one Rocky Edwards, alright? There's only one Rocky Edwards, and I'm rolling with Leon. And still, I think if we look at how Kamaru was holding on to the gloves in the first round for dear life, cheating. He was cheating, holding on to the gloves. And had he not done that, he very likely could have been subbed in the first round. The other fucking 3 rounds after that, Edwards just didn't, he didn't seem like himself, and then the knockout happened. You know, we had the amazing corner work. Don't let him bully you, son. Don't let him bully you. Oh my God, now I gotta fucking find it. I gotta hear it. It's so inspiring. Don't let him bully you, son. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Let's hear it. I'm sorry if this is...
Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Listen. You gotta get angry now, Leon. You're too down. Come on, you're letting him control you too much, son. You gotta get your hands going, Leon. You gotta get your hands going. Come on. Look for your clinch.
Leon won't even look at his coach. He won't even look at his coach. People were saying like, nah, he wasn't. He tried to say afterwards he wasn't down on himself. He wasn't feeling bad, but it's like, bro, look at your body language in here. Your coach is like, come on, you're letting them bully you, and you won't even look at your coach. You're looking outside of the octagon. Like, dude, this is so beautiful.
Use your hands and your legs. You get off the front foot, okay? Use your hands, fake off. Yeah, I love your freaking jab.
He won't look at anybody in his corner.
One more drink. Great, baby.
He won't look at anyone in his corner. He's looking down. I think that was after the third.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for you. Well, come on then. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Now you gotta pull it out of the fire.
Pull it out of the fire. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. I'm not. Let's play it back. I love it.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for you. Well, come on then. What's wrong with you? You're too. Now you gotta pull it out of the fire. Come on,
Yes.
Leon, man. You got it, man. Come on.
Come on, Leon.
Let's go! You had him. Can you do it again? Okay? Come on, add him.
Yes. And then it ends with and new. It gives me chills to watch that shit. Gives me fucking chills. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. I'm not feeling sorry. Then come on, pull that shit out of the fire. Walks in there. Pound for pound, headshot, dead. Alright, one of the best moments in MMA. This is why we love the sport. To see Rocky Edwards fucking change the trajectory of his name. Of the Edwards name. He comes from the ghetto of London or somewhere in England. He comes from the hood. You know, and he changed everything. Became welterweight champion. It was beautiful. It's beautiful to see it. It's beautiful to see it when things like Alexa Grasso. That was beautiful. These are the moments why we love MMA. It's why we love combat sports. All right. Damn, I'm all shook up from watching that video. Like, fuck. I want Leon to win this. I'm going with Leon. I think he's just going to be better. I think he's going to have that confidence knowing that he stopped Usman in the first fight. In the second fight. And I'm just curious how Usman comes in there knowing he just got knocked out cold in his last fight. He's 35. Just got knocked out cold. I'm really interested to see how Kamaru goes about things. I'm expecting a pretty grapple heavy Kamaru Usman. That's what I'm expecting here, but you never know. This man was talking about how he wanted to box Canelo. You know, he's talking about how he wanted to box Canelo. So what Kamaru Usman are we gonna get? I'm not sure, but I'm rolling with Rocky Edwards. All right, I'm rolling with Rocky in this one. In the co-main, you have Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev? However it is. I don't know, man. I think so. I've always thought Justin Gaethje was a little overrated. Like, he's good, but I've always felt he was a little overrated. And then so it's crazy because I've always thought Tony Ferguson was the most overrated fighter. But then for whatever reason, I just started to believe leading up to the fight with Gaethje. Alright? Leading up to the fight with Gaethje, I was like, shit, he's about to make something happen. Like, I'm looking at all these fights that he's winning, and I'm like, dude, he should have lost that fight. He should have lost that fight. And then I'm just like, leading up to that fight, I'm like, dude, he's about to do something amazing in there. Didn't happen. Like, early on in the fight, even listen to the commentary, they're like, oh, he's about to, all right, later in this fight, Tony's about to come on. El Kukui's about to come out. And it was like, nah, he's just getting his ass beat. Ooh, this is hard to watch. And thankfully, the ref just stopped that fight, because it was like, holy. Tony ain't never looked the same again since that fight. Next fight, he was like flinching and shit in the fight. Like, he got his ass beat by Justin Gaethje. You know, Justin Gaethje fought a nigga with one arm. You know? Justin Gaethje fought a nigga with one arm. That's wild to me when I think about who Justin Gaethje is, how he's thought of. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, he fought a professional fight against a nigga with one arm. That's on his professional record. I'm only saying that because it's just wild. He's known as this heavy fucking handed dude. You think that's a little unfair? I think Fiziev is gonna be better than Gaethje basically everywhere. I don't think Gaethje has much of a ground game, and if he has it, he doesn't really want to use it. And I think Fiziev is going to be much better than him on the feet. I think his countering is going to be what really fucks Gaethje up in here. He's going to be able to counter Gaethje and just have Gaethje like fucking second guessing himself. I'd imagine by the second round, you're going to see some heavy reacts to feints and Fiziev just fucking this dude up. I'm rolling with Fiziev in that fight, man. I just want to look at this card a little bit here. You got, in the first fight, UFC 286, it's Simp's Delight along with fucking Groomer's Delight, if you will. Simps fucking Juliana Miller. A lot of people were simping over Juliana Miller, the winner of the Ultimate Fighter. I like to call her, whenever I see her, I see Jar Jar Binks. That's all I see whenever I see Juliana Miller is Jar Jar Binks. But I see you niggas were simping over Juliana Miller pretty hard. And I said Groomer's Delight. Because you know how niggas, like, if it's okay to call Pat Barry a groomer because of the Rose Namajunas situation, I mean, I guess maybe it's not necessarily fair to call Dan Hardy a groomer. He's married to this Veronica Macedo woman here who's 27 years old. All right. Dan Hardy is 40 years old. Is that not even a little weird? She's younger than me and he's older than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga's 40. That girl's 27 years old. Is that not even a little weird? It's a 13-year difference. Can we say that, put that nigga in the same realm as a Pat Barry? I don't know when these niggas met. Maybe it wasn't nothing like that, but it's just weird. Anywho, you got Jai Herbert versus Ludovic Klein. I got Jai Herbert. Joanne Wood versus Luana Carolina. I'm gonna go Joanne Wood. I don't know. I wanted to just try to go through some of this. I'm not Super Sadiq Yusuf. I don't have all the numbers here and all these super technical ass predictions as Super Sadiq does. I don't have it. So I don't want to go over shit. You know, I did have an issue with Super Sadiq because I thought there was one week where he was skipping over the women's fights when I started watching his predictions Then the next one he skipped over, and the first comment was like, just like me, skipping the women's fights. And I'm like, that's disgusting, my nigga. That's fucking disgusting. You're intentionally just not even gonna try to talk about the women's fights? Do you just like not watch them? Do you not train with women or some shit like that? It was weird to me. It was weird. I was like, I can't even watch this shit anymore. Dusko Todorovic is fighting this guy Christian Duncan. Looks like a UFC debut. 7-0 out of middleweight out of the UK. Out of Ireland? A black dude? There's a black dude named Christian Duncan out of Ireland. Okay. You got Muhammad Mokaev is fighting. This guy Hafil Filho. I don't know who that is. Never heard, I'll be honest with you. I don't know who that is, but I guess I'm rolling with Muhammad Mokaev. I seen some shit where niggas said Muhammad Mokaev was like 32-0. I was like, I swear he's not. Right there, he's 8-0. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Niggas were saying he's like surpassing Khabib. And I was like, I don't think so. This one, he's like a little ass boy. Like he's relatively young. I feel like he's in his like early 20s. Anywho, I don't know Sam Patterson or Yanal Ashmaz. Never heard of either of these niggas, and they both look like debuts. I'm saying that like as if I don't have the card pulled up right here and I can't just click it and see who the fuck these niggas is. Who is these niggas? This is this Patterson guy, Sam Patterson. He's out of the UK, so this card, as you guys should know, is in London, in the O2 Arena. He's 6'3", the Sam Patterson guy, and this Yanal Ashmaz guy is 5'9". I think they're trying to set your boy up here to look good, to get a W in his hometown. Why not? That's how you build stars. Oh, so this Sam Patterson guy is a Contender Series guy. So this will be his UFC debut after getting a contract on the Contender Series. And this Ashmov guy, it says he fought in the PFL Contender Series and he won. But that was his last fight in the PFL Contender Series back in a year ago. Yeah, it'll be a year to the day was his last fight. It was March 18th, 2022. So yeah, I guess you would definitely probably roll with Patterson there. But when's Patterson's last fight? Oh, back in September. Yeah, so, and that was the Contender Series back in September. He fought in May. He fought March 11th last year, so he's had one fight in between there, and he stayed a little more active than Yanal. That's interesting. All right, so Vettori. Okay, no. Let's not skip. Jack Shore versus Makwan Amirkhani. Jack Shore we saw get finished by Ricky Simone in his last fight. He lost his O, ladies and gentlemen, to Ricky Simone. And shit, I like Ricky Simone. All right, I honestly think Ricky is a lot better than he shows sometimes, you know. He's a lot better than he shows sometimes. But Jack Shore coming in undefeated, got gassed out and defeated. He was subbed. But I think this fight with Makwan Amirkhani is the perfect fight for Jack Shore to bounce back. Alright. I'm not too big on Makwan Amirkhani. Alright. I think he's 34. I think he's on his way out. I don't feel like Makwan Amirkhani will ever be fucking featherweight champion of the UFC. I don't see that for his future. Or what is this fight contested at? Yeah, this is a featherweight. So Jack Shore, is he moving up in weight? Because Jack Shore, he fought Ricky Simone. He was at bantamweight. He's moving up in weight to fight Makwan Amirkhani. So that is an interesting detail there. He's moving up to 145 pounds. That is interesting. Against a Makwan Amirkhani, who, I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of Makwan Amirkhani. I think Jack Shore is just gonna be a lot better than him in there. That's an interesting fight. I didn't realize Jack Shore had moved up in weight. But then you got Vettori versus Dvalishvili, which is the non-title fight that I'm most interested in here, honestly. I'm not really sure who takes this one. I say my head is leaning toward Vettori. All right, Vettori is a beast in there. If you look at how Vettori looked against Paulo Costa, he got his ass beat against Whitaker, and he got his ass beat against Israel Adesanya. Beat up Kevin Holland. He out-grappled Kevin Holland. I don't think he had anything for Kevin Holland on the feet. Dvalishvili, the Caucasian, fighting out of Georgia. Just like my boy Merab Dvalishvili. Georgia, the country, not the state. The Caucasian. Roman Dvalishvili, coming off his recent victory over Jack Hermanson. See, that's an interesting. Vettori beat Hermanson, right? I feel like, he kept scratching him. He's scratching me with his nails. And the coach is like, dude, just forget about that. Just go win your fight. He keeps scratching me with his nails. I thought it was funny when Vettori kept complaining, he's scratching me with his nails. But I think Vettori should probably take this one. Vettori should take this one, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dvalishvili won, man. Dvalishvili is good. He's 12-1. He's not the younger guy here. He's the older of the two. But I don't know, man. He's a big boy. I think he could look good here, but I think it'll be up to Vettori to use his grappling to kind of like slow down some of that fucking heat that's coming from Dvalishvili, because he's gonna come with some fucking hammers at Vettori. You guys can best believe that. And the Simps are back. You got Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill. The Simps are screaming right now. They got on Tapology, 87% of the people are picking O'Neill to beat Jennifer Maia, former title challenger Jennifer Maia. I guess I haven't liked Maia. Haven't liked how she looked since the Valentina fight. I thought she didn't look too bad against Valentina. You know what I'm saying? That was the first time we started to see a chink in the armor for Valentina when she fought Maia. And like Maia gave her a tough fight, but then since that fight, she beat Jessica Ai because she should win that fight. Then she lost to Chukagian, lost to Manon Farrow. I don't think Farrow is as good as people are talking. Maybe I'm wrong. But here she is, 34 years old, set to fight 25-year-old undefeated King Casey O'Neill. And the Simps are in an uproar. You guys, if you guys are on MMA Twitter, man, you niggas is weird. The Simps are out for this Casey O'Neill. Casey O'Neill. She's known to put that pace on you. It's just weird to me, these Simps, man. You guys ever seen that like statue, that Squidward statue on SpongeBob? That's what I see when I see Casey O'Neill. But the Simps are out for her. They had her neck, nigga. And I just I don't understand the simping over most of these buff ass women. But it is what it is. Do you, boo boo? Yeah, I'm going Casey to win this fight. Gunnar Nelson versus Bam Brian Barberena. That's a good fight. I'd like to see Gunnar Nelson get that W here. Is he still fighting out of SPG? Okay. It says he's still fighting out of SPG, but that could be wrong. It could be all lies. He recently beat Takashi Soto back in, almost a year to the day, March 19th, 2022. How does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, maybe the guy I was looking at before fought for a different promotion. He's fighting for PFL Contender Series, which is a Friday night thing. So that's why that happened. And then he was set to fight D-Rod, but that was canceled, and now he's fighting Bam Brian Barberena, man. They're only a year apart. Gunnar Nelson being a year older than Barberena. How long has Barberena been in the UFC? It's interesting. Oh, he's been here for quite a while. He's been in the UFC since 2014. Yeah, he's been here for a while. I was finna say, like, you got Gunnar, the veteran here, the UFC veteran, but Barberena's been here almost 10 years. And yeah. So Gunnar Nelson's been here for 11 years. For 11 years. Gunnar Nelson's been here for 11 years, Barberena 9. Alright. This is gonna be an interesting fight. Two UFC veterans. I'm rooting for Gunnar, but I think I'd have to roll with Barberena in there. Alright. I think the jiu-jitsu could really be an X factor for Gunnar Nelson in there, but I'm rolling with Barberena to get the W. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com if you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast. I'd appreciate it so much. If you guys would like to follow your boy on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys would like to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my niche, be my patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, and you guys can be my patrons today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here another week. We're not going to talk about Last of Us. Maybe next week. Maybe I'll touch on it next week. Probably not, because I try to just keep it as we're talking about here. But try to keep it to fights. But I don't know. It seems pretty interesting.